Now, a multi-state drug network has been revealed, and heroin that's worth nearly 500 crores has been seized at the Atari border in Amritsar, seized by the Customs Department and the BSF in a joint operation during the search of a truck. The truck was coming from Afghanistan via Pakistan. Now, in an exclusive interview to Republic TV, the NCB chief has also hinted at an Afghanistan-Pakistan link in the Shaheen Bagh drug bust.
हमने मुलेठी के बैग्स खोले तो बैग्स के अंदर मुलेठी भी थी और ऐसे पीसेस भी थे। तो जब वो बड़ा बोरा होता है, जो बोरा होता है, वो जब हमने खोला और ऐसे पीसेस सेग्रीगेट किए तो कैविटी इसमें थी।
मुलेठी भी ऐसी होती है?
मुलेठी का कलर ऐसा होता है, वो थिन होता है, थोड़ा सा पतला होता है, इससे इतना बड़ा नहीं होता, इससे थोड़ा छोटा ही होता है। तो वो इसलिए वो थोड़ा सा हम सेग्रीगेट करते हैं।
How difficult it was, you know?
It was extremely difficult. I must give credit to all my officers who are in ICP. They did a wonderful job of examining 100% स्कैनिंग होती है सारे माल की, क्योंकि आपको मालूम है अगस्त 2021 में जो तालिबान में जो अफगानिस्तान में चेंजेस आए उसके बाद हमने 100% एग्जामिनेशन शुरू किया है। तो आई मस्ट गिव क्रेडिट टू ऑल माई टीम, उन्होंने बहुत अच्छा इसमें बहुत सटीक काम किया है और ये डिटेक्शन हमें मिला।
Now, in fact, Gursimran is joining us live right now. He's reporting on the heroin that's been seized from the Atari border. Gursimran, give us a sense of what's happening over there. Obviously, this is a huge haul.
Yes, this is a huge recovery by the Customs Department. It's pertinent to mention that there was an input with the Customs Department that there will be smuggling of narcotics from Afghanistan, the trucks that are coming from Afghanistan via Pakistan, and it was in the form of lyric, which is commonly called as mulethi. It was in the truck of the mulethi, and when they searched it thoroughly and the tests were conducted by the Customs Department along with the border security force that has been deployed on the Atari-Wagah border, they found it to be heroin around 102 kilogram, the international market worth of which is touching 500 crore, clearly hinting that a big nexus is going, and this was to be delivered to some dealer in New Delhi. A Punjab, Amritsar based person is also involved in this, and now the arrest too will be taking place. The matter is being taken up by the Customs Department as well as the Narcotics Control Bureau, as this is a big seizure that has been made on the Indo-Pakistan international border. This all seems to be plot of the narco-terrorism, because in the past as well, any major catch, the recovery that is made when it comes to the narcotics has direct or indirect link with the narco-terrorism, because the money that is being minted from the sale of this narcotics is used to fuel the terror activities, and this have been proven in past as well. And now the agencies are looking into every possible angle, since it was to be delivered in Delhi, and yesterday we saw how from Shaheen Bagh a huge cache of narcotics has been recovered, heroin has been recovered. So was this part of that module? This all needs to be investigated, and the agencies are working into it.
Oh yes, absolutely. As you're pointing out, obviously there will be perhaps linkages drawn maybe to the Shaheen Bagh bust as well. For the moment, thank you very much for joining us, Gursimran. Now, going on to the Shaheen Bagh investigation, 2 Afghan nationals have been arrested by the NCB in the Shaheen Bagh drug bust case. Now, on Wednesday, the Narcotics Control Bureau had seized a huge cache of narcotic substances that amounted to almost 100 kgs in Delhi Shaheen Bagh. The NCP suspect an ever larger international drug trafficking network to be behind this. All right, as we are pointing out, of course, this is going to be a huge bust that has now taken place. What we understand is that heroin worth about 500 crore rupees has been seized at the Atari border in Amritsar. Now, this has been seized by the Customs Department and the BSF in a joint operation. Authorities, of course, still trying to ascertain whether there is link between this and the bust that was done in Shaheen Bagh. Now, if there is a link, this is going to take the seizure to about more than 600 crores, because what we understand is that the Shaheen Bagh bust is also considered to be very large. But however, what's common between the two seems to be the fact that there is an Afghan angle to it. Now, Afghanistan, of course, ever since we've seen the US forces withdraw from it, has been a major supplier of narcotics across the world, and there had been fears in India as well as rest of the world that heroin will be smuggled in from Afghanistan. I'm going to go back to Gursimran on this. Now, Gursimran, give us a sense of what you are telling us in terms of whether this is linked to Shaheen Bagh, because what we understand is that both drug busts have a link to Afghanistan via Pakistan.
Yes, indeed, both the drug busts that have taken place first in the Atari and then followed by it is in Shaheen Bagh, both have links with Afghanistan. See, Afghanistan has always been a hub of the narcotics smuggling, and when it comes to Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab and other parts of the country, mostly the narco-terrorist smugglers, they have been resorting to such tactics where the drug is imported from Afghanistan via different routes, via cross-border smuggling. We have seen that happening in the Poonch Rajouri, we have seen that happening in the Kupwara, and that too happening now in the parts of Punjab. Even the drug catch that has been recovered of more than 102 kilogram by the Custom Department along with the Border Security Force from the Atari border. This also has come from Afghanistan. So the drug lords in Afghanistan totally rely on this smuggling of drugs for getting the money that has to be that was used for the terror funding. It has been proven in multiple cases that are being probed by the agencies, and now this angle also emerging in the Shaheen Bagh recovery clearly hints that there is some connection, because it was DG NCB who spoke of the same, and when it comes to the recovery that was made in Atari, it was the Commissioner of the Customs, Rahul Nangare, who shared details that it came from Afghanistan via the Pakistani route and it was to be delivered to someone in New Delhi. So this all somewhat hints that there is a larger conspiracy that is being hatched against the Union of India so as to destabilize the country and to generate funds that can possibly be used for terror funding.
Absolutely. As you're pointing out, of course, the NCB have also been saying that they suspect there to be a bigger international ring which is involved with this. Now, what are the top officials of the NCB telling you, Gursimran? Any new details that you can share with us in terms of both these seizures?
See, it's not about the two seizures, but there are multiple operations that are also underway, because the line of control and the Punjab international border has always been used by the anti-social elements, the anti-national elements to push in the drugs into the Indian territory, and money in turn was used for the terror for terror funding. So agencies are always on the alert and they are trying to find out those local suspects who are involved in this, because without a local hand it's not possible for those in Afghanistan or in Pakistan to push this cache of means 100 kilogram, 50 kilogram into the Indian territory without their takers in India. So that all is being worked upon by the multiple agencies. Even some of the agencies that deal with the terror linked cases, they are also looped in, so that entire which is the frame behind this, who is in the pictures, can be brought out and can be arrested at an earliest, and some more information can be revealed from them, because it seems to be a part of larger conspiracy. The conspiracy is not to push drugs into India, but also to destabilize the country and also to pump the money into the terror-linked activities.
Oh yes, absolutely, and that is something what we understand is going to be under investigation, as the NCB as well as several other security agencies are conducting a multilateral agency probe. Now the BSF of course was also involved in the 100 kg drug bust at the Atari border. Now Gursimran, what's very, very interesting is in the manner in which this was being smuggled. We understand that the BSF, along with in a joint operation with the NCB, actually managed to All right, I'm going to come back to you. Colonel Rohit Dev on the phone line with me. Colonel Dev, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Colonel Dev, ever since we've seen the situation in Afghanistan and the hasty pullout of the US troops from there, narco-terror has been one of the big concerns for India, and now all those fears seem to be coming true. 100 kgs worth of contraband substances seized in Atari. We've also had the seizure that was made in Shaheen Bagh.
Right. So I do agree with what you are saying, because narco-terrorism, and especially through Afghanistan, has been the hotbed for nearly 3 or 4 decades in recent memory, where many stakeholders and the countries have gained from this trade. And Pakistan has used this as a tool to generate money within, from the Middle East, from countries like China, and I don't want to name the other one with T. But these are the countries which have used the ill-gotten money and tried to infuse a lot of terror in India. Not only terror, they have tried to strike the, very ethics of our country of non-use of these drugs. And we have seen how certain states, and especially the place you mentioned, Tari border-based state adjoining that, how they have been spoiled as a generation through this narco trade. So I believe now, for the last 2.5 years, as I'm seeing now, I believe the HMO is very active, the BSF is active. We have seen certain cases where BSF people have been caught by CBI, and there have been instances. So it has been two kinds of trade which has bothered our country. One is the narco trade through the northern border, and one is a part of narco trade maybe, but largely illegal immigration and human trade, human trafficking, which has happened from the eastern part. But the bigger worry for us, if you want to know as Republic viewers, is the coastal part, because much of this ill-gotten narco-terrorism takes place from there. Most of it funds various agencies, including some industries in Mumbai, which are very celebrity-infused. It goes to pockets of many politicians, and that is how we have become a very weak nation over the last 4 decades, where the custodians of our country's integrity against this particular commodity, to fight against that, has been broken down. And we have succumbed to a lot of pressures of money and narco trade. So good for the government of the day to be taking it out on head on, to be able to nip it in the bud and attempt to do so. And I don't think so there can be a better day for our country in which the BSF, the intelligence and people who are being given the responsibility to curb this trade happening, which is affecting our society, our next generation, and also causing a lot of terrorism, has to be done. So glad that you have taken up this issue, and I think it will go a long way to enhance the awareness of the general public and our citizens in diaspora as well.
Absolutely. Colonel Dave, as you're pointing out, it's a big challenge for our security forces as well as the NCP. Thank you very much for joining us.